Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again with another episode of my Carolina Hurricanes franchise mode series right here on NHL 19. In today's episode, we get another season underway, the 2022-2023 season, and we will hopefully look to stop what has quickly become a playoff drought. We have missed the playoffs for the past two seasons in very disappointing fashion, but maybe, just maybe, this is the year that we get back on track. Before we do that, though, I do want to get to a couple of your comments. Starting off with something that Ryan Minister pointed out. I thought as part of the rules, you had to make deals where it would make sense if you were the other team. Basically, getting a draft pick back in the Mitch Marner trade where we had to trade Sebastian Aho in the last episode. Here's the thing. You're not wrong that if I was in charge of the Ottawa Senators, that I would probably have not taken that deal because of the draft pick involved. That said, if I was in charge of the Ottawa Senators, I also wouldn't be trading Mitch Marner. So my justification for that trade is that the real-life Senators are the people in charge are kind of dumb. I know Pierre Dorian got a really good return for Mark Stone and getting Brandstrom back, but that's my justification for that. It's the one trade where I'm like, the Sens are kind of dumb in real life. They'd probably still do this. That's now I know that that's not the rule. It's supposed to be if I was the GM, but let me take my shot at Ottawa. Let me get my extra pick back this one time, and we'll call it good. I will admit that I have cheated the system here, but it's okay because it's Ottawa. If that's not a good enough justification, then I'm sorry I have failed you. To Iron Bones Fitness, didn't we change the rule in the no movement clause? We absolutely did, and I'm not surprised that I managed to forget this part of the rule. But essentially, with the Dougie Hamilton contract and the Morgan Riley contract that we just signed this past offseason, I have mishandled the way no movement clauses have been set up. So with Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken, it was a 5-year deal, meaning that we were going to have to stay loyal to him for at least 3, and then there's a chance that we could have that no movement clause expire with 2 years left to go on that contract, for example. So to bring it here, because this is what we're supposed to do, technically, again, Hamilton, a 5-year contract, so what we were supposed to do is go year 4 and year 5, essentially, is what we were supposed to do. How long are we supposed to stay loyal to Dougie Hamilton? So we will respin this, and we will find out just how long we are going to stay loyal to him, and then we're going to be spinning the wheel for Morgan Riley. Now, with Dougie Hamilton, as it turns out, nothing has changed. He will be staying here for the duration of his contract. It was a 5-year contract. He gets a full term no movement clause. 5-year contract. That no movement clause is in effect for all 5 seasons. The question is, with Morgan Riley, now it's a 7-year contract, so we're gonna say that I have to stay loyal for at least 4 years. But years 5, 6, and 7 are up for grabs, and we will see whether or not 7 seconds works. We'll see whether or not we can get a little bit lucky here and maybe have the ability to move Morgan Riley in the worst case scenario. Not to mention he'll be 35 years old when the contract expires. However, yeah, we're going to be staying loyal to Morgan Riley for the entire contract as well. So literally, nothing changed. How do you like that? So Morgan Riley is going to be staying here for in fairness of Morgan Riley, it was stay loyal for 5 of the 7 years. That's not going to be the case anymore. With Morgan Riley, he and Dougie Hamilton will be here for the duration of their contracts. That kind of sucks just a little bit. And then, of course, Justin Falk, if I'm not mistaken, we were having to stay loyal to him for 6 out of the 7 years of his contract. So, I mean, he 4 years left, so we're getting there. It's basically once he has 1 year left, it's a no movement clause. So, or no trade clause, I should say. So that's, oh boy. So that defense core right there of Riley, Hamilton, and Falk, get used to seeing them because they are the core of this team. And needless to say, now the focus is going to be on the offense a little bit in terms of these guys actually stepping up and hopefully leading the charge. In order to begin this season, we needed to decide what the goals for the year were. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. How's that for a transition? I wanted to bring up this team and mention this team because, again, the top six, you'd like to think they do relatively well. We know Niederreiter's going to bounce back. He signed a really good contract. The addition of Mitch Marner as opposed to Sebastian Aho being here, and then the bottom six changing drastically with Pekka Matanen, Brett Leeson, Antti Allonen, and Matt Philippe all making the team. There's a little bit of pressure. The most thumbs up comment from the last episode was Ari's. So here is what we are going to be doing. The team goal, it does say finish in top 3 of the division. Let's be honest then. The goal, yet again, is to make the playoffs. However, if we do not make the playoffs, then we need to trade our first round pick to get a top 6 veteran winger, which again is going to suck because if we miss the playoffs, there's a chance that it could be a high lottery pick. And if I then have to trade that high lottery pick for a veteran winger, it's going to be a problem because, not to mention, then we'd probably have to deal Nino Niederreiter because where else would that veteran winger go? So, again, another similar goal, but it wasn't the most thumbs up of having to make the playoffs. But if we were to fail this goal, there would be drastic implications, and this roster would change significantly heading into next year. The player goal revolves around Spencer Knight to have a .918 save percentage or higher. If he does not, then the goal here is to sign Jimmy Howard to another 2 years. Now here's the issue with him being 38 years old. There's no guarantee that this would be possible, but I would try at the very least. So unfortunately, I will say it. There weren't that many really that many other comments that had thumbs up. So we're gonna go off of this. We're gonna try to make the best of it. But case in point, although I will point out Jason Carter's comment. He did say get Marner back to 70 points a season, which hopefully we will. But the rest of the comment was interesting. If you succeed, you get a free draft, which I wouldn't do, but fail and you must simulate your first 3 round picks and let the horrible AI pick for you. That would be devastating, especially too when you factor in that we have the rule of, one of each player type or one of each position. That would be fairly brutal as well. Aside from all of that, though, I know there was a decent amount to cover. Aside from all of that, we're good to go. It's time to get a new season underway. The post-Sebastian Aho era. Mitch Marner is here. We have a relatively young core. We're listed as contenders, as you'd like to think we would be with this defense. By the way, Jordan Stahl was given back the C. It's Falk and actually Morgan Riley who was given a letter, which, I think I'm gonna take it away from him. Sorry, Morgan. You might get pissed off about that, but it's gonna go to Tavo. Tavo's been here for a while. It's gonna go to old Tavo Teravainen. With all of that covered, it is time to begin a new season. Of course, it seems like a while ago where we started off a season so hot. Laurent Brossoit was an absolutely playing like a man possessed, and then since then it's been all downhill. And I can only hope that this season is the one where we start to turn it around. Again, we do have the pressure of needing to make the playoffs. The good thing is, I would say, in terms of the player challenge for Spencer Knight, is that the defense in front of him is absolutely outstanding. That's really the only way to put it. The good thing is scouting is still set up exactly as we'd want it, which is very nice. Of course, we don't get those extra amateur scouts because we need the pro scouts, thanks to Fog of War. But we'll see what happens. Scott Darling, what's up, buddy? I mean, you say lately. Does that describe the last 6 or 7 years? Oh, God. Just stay focused, buddy, on keeping that bench warm. That's all you have to do. He is our third-string goaltender, as Mitch Marner is hurt but healthy. Thank God. I thought we were going to lose him immediately. Oh, that would have been so brutal. We do beat Sebastian Aho and the Ottawa Senators, though, so we have that going for us. That's so weird that Aho's a Sen. So strange. Dylan Simpson is injured down in the AHL. Not that big of a deal. Of course, I will be intrigued to see how the Checkers do this season, since we did graduate so many players up. And there's the injury to Mitch Marner. Oh, God. He's out for a couple of weeks. That is rough. So it's going to be Max Zimmer who ends up replacing him. I should have just done assistant coach replace player, but too late. Too late. So let's get Zimmer into the lineup. He is listed as a playmaker. I'm actually not going to change the team around. We're just going to go for it. Congratulations, Max Zimmer. You get to play alongside Svechnikov and PLD for the next few weeks. As far as the draft is concerned, again, remember, we are very much into nothing but computer-generated territory. We do know that there is at least one medium elite shocker at the top of the draft, DeAndre Sawatsky. Jesus. Teemu Selanne comparison already for the American. Oh, boy. If anything, that's not a good sign that there's some top-notch talent at the top of this draft, because we have lost 4 straight games and have a 2-5 record, which very, very much scares me. As far as who would be taken out of the lineup here, I genuinely don't know. I think it's fine. Sorry, Dylan, we don't really need you. Don't worry, don't worry about it, though. I'm sure he'll make it back into the lineup. As Antti Allonen is down to injury. Oh, God, I'm just going to go assistant coach replace player because it's 2 games and I really don't... Oh, my God, we suck. Why are we so bad? We shouldn't be this bad. Please win. Thank you. Do I want to trade for Tyler Toffoli and William Karlsson? No, I'm good. Thanks. Thanks, Ottawa. I know. I kind of cheated you a little bit. I'm sorry. So it would have been Friedman in on forward. He's our depth defenseman, but I can't imagine that would have been too detrimental. Zimmer is actually doing okay in the Mitch Marner role, which, not that anybody can really replace him and his importance to us, but he's doing okay. I'm going to wait until Marner's back to 100% before we take a look at the team, but obviously right now our record is horrifying. Dougie, what's up? The team, I agree, buddy. I agree. Oh, boy. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Fucking lead the team, Dougie. Oh, or not. Just go hang out at a museum or something. Leave the leadership to somebody else. Come on, Dougie. All I'm asking you for is just be like, hey, yeah, lead by example. Show the team what's what. And you're just like, nah, I'm not buying your motivational tactics, coach. It's like, really? Really? That's the response? Jordan, get down onto that 4th line, please. Although, granted, I could flip. Oh, my God. Like, I know you're on the 4th line, but Jesus. Thank God it's the last year of that contract, and then he is gone. Leeson has 4 points. I'm going to swap those two just to see what happens. I'm honestly afraid to look at night save percentage. You know, considering the record, that's actually tremendous. He's a legitimate 85. The problem is Jimmy Howard has been a disgrace. Oh, he's been so bad. Let's take a look here. Svechnikov. I mean, over point a game right now. That's tremendous. PLD, 10 points. Not bad. Marner had 3 points in 6 games. Gonna need a little bit more than that. Second line, oh, Whitfield. No. No, Whitfield, no, you need to be better. Tavo with 6 points, and Nino, oh my God. All right, well, we found our problem. I'm going to flip those two just to get a different look on that line. Like, we are committed to that being our second line. They need to do something. Matanen, oh my God. Right. Okay, so we have no depth scoring whatsoever. That's what you're telling me. Morgan Riley with 8 points, 5 for Dougie Hamilton, 4 for Jake Bean, 5 for Justin Falk. I mean, we have those top 4 are all very capable offensive / two-way defensemen. I mean, they are all more than capable of putting up points. And unfortunately, this team is, I mean, struggling is not even the word for it, but I can't believe we're as bad as we are right now. I mean, we have had worse teams than this in certain series that have had better records than this. I was streaming earlier tonight, and we had a team that was worse than this that won a division title. So how this team, my God, how are we so bad? Like, I'm not fooling myself into thinking that we're an amazing team. But being this bad, I mean, come on. I don't understand it. Especially, too, with, at the time, Spencer Knight's save percentage not being all that bad. Marner is disengaged. Lack of ice time. I hit the button, you would have seen it, to put him back into the lineup. I swear to God I did. Yeah, no, you got it, buddy. I'll make sure that you're back in the lineup. I stopped the sim. Do not sim that Washington game. Thank you. That would have sucked. Let me make sure Mitch is still in the team. The good thing is, I mean, we're only 10 points out of the playoff spot. Oh, God. Yeah, Marner, what the fuck are you complaining about? What the hell? Oh, piss off. No wonder why Ottawa wanted to trade you. You're on the top line, you have power play time, and you're still whining about ice time. No, what? Never mind. I am in the wrong. Ottawa was right to give up assets for Marner and then be like, oh no, wait, we made a mistake. Let's try to trade him. What the hell? Get out of here with that nonsense. How dare you? How dare you? I don't want to scratch Morgan Geeky. I want to go best lines. Thank you. Celios is ours. Nope, he's not. Yep, he is, I think. I don't remember. Kerslake. You were a second-round pick of ours. Good old Larry. Let me double-check here to make sure. So Sylvester's a healthy scratch, which isn't ideal. He's the only one, though, right? Him, Hedman, and Drury. Ugh. The problem is we have some decent prospects, obviously, so some people are going to have to miss out. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. And down in the AHL as well. Who do we want to take out? I think, I'm sorry to say, but Nathan Beaulieu will be taking seats for Hartman. I mean, medium 9, low. I hate that low 6 potential more than anything else. But we'll see how this team does for now. And again, goaltending-wise, it's Fritz Meyer and Shivitsky, which, I mean, it wouldn't be all that surprising if they were terrible, but Peter Shivitsky, despite being a 57, is actually doing pretty damn good. So I'm afraid to look at the Hurricanes' stat lines right now. I'm horrified at the fact that we are just terrible. Talk about a chance at potentially getting back towards the playoffs. Apparently not. Apparently we are very, very far away from that. Ottawa, kick all the rocks. I really need to edit our trade blocks so we stop getting offers. And Pekka Mottinen's down to a concussion. I guess that means not Matt Philippe, but the other dude there, his name's escaping me right now. The one that was on the top line earlier. He'll be back in the lineup for the next few games. Don't look now. We've won 3 out of 4, which is, I mean, God, that's a hot streak if I've ever seen one for this team this season, apparently. So we beat Buffalo 5-0, and Morgan Riley goes down. Only for a week, but still just long enough to make you wonder how long it's going to take for me to lose my sanity. Eric Cernak, if you did not have 2 years left, I would be tempted, but you're a depth defenseman making $1 million. Absolutely not. Justin Falk goes down. We did beat the Bruins 5-1. I mean, all of a sudden the goal scoring is there, which is nice. And we need to call up a defenseman. Which is probably for the best, because I actually think we have too many guys down in the AHL right now. So it's going to be good old Ben Sherratt, who gets the call up. He'll be a healthy scratch. I'll probably just keep him on the Hurricanes roster moving forward so we don't have to worry about it again. So the AHL, and again, I have to take out Dylan Simpson just to make sure the Hartman's in the lineup. A legitimate 71 low elite at 21 years old. Very, very scary point in his development time, because we just don't know if he's going to make it. And again, he's the type of guy who I'm not allowed to exploit his potential, because this game was, I don't want to say of a higher standard, because that's not fair, but if this game was tuned a little bit differently, the value would drop off a little bit more, like it can with low potential. As Justin Falk is back. That's right, we have Darling on the roster. You're going down, Scotty. I was going to leave you there because I didn't want to have to adjust the AHL team, but I'd rather just have this be fine. Of course, we brought back Darling this year for the memes, so when in doubt, bring a player back for the memes. If that's not advice to live by, I don't know what is. Have that as your credo. Put that in your yearbook quote. So we play the Leafs, who are dominant, and they beat us 6-4, which is rough. Justin Falk is back, full strength. We'll go best lines. I'm amazed the Checkers are doing as well as they are, despite the goaltending being a little bit shaky. But 11, 16, and 3. I'm going to sim to January 1st of 2023. And we'll see what the full situation is here with the team, as we've lost 4 games in a row after a decent set of wins against the Sabres and Bruins. Back-to-back wins now, though, against Anaheim and Vegas. Against Florida as well. It's a back-to-back, though. We play Columbus. Tavo gets hurt. He'll be out until January 8th. Good. So we'll go best lines. I don't know if I want Brett Leeson. It was Max Zimmer who I was trying to think of, by the way. I don't know if I want Brett Leeson taking that much of a step forward. Philippe can't play center. Zimmer can't play center. I guess we have no choice. Although Whitfield can play center. So we got that going for us. So Stahl's going back down. We'll put Whitfield at center, and I'm just going to have Zimmer play those extra minutes. I mean, he wasn't that bad the last time he had to do it, and it makes the lineup changes fairly straightforward, as we've won 4 straight games, but every time I've begun to notice our team having a good run of success, we immediately fall off a cliff. That trend may continue as we lose to Philadelphia, and then Julien Gauthier injures his knee. He'll be out for a little bit. 16, 18, and 3. As of January 1st, I can only imagine how far out of the playoffs we are. The correct answer is 14 points. We are 14 points out. Oh, boy. Goaltending. Spencer Knight. Yep, that's not great. Okay. So the thought of having to keep Jimmy Howard just got a lot more horrifying. Please retire. Please. Oh, look at the defense before the forwards. Morgan Riley, 25 points and a plus 11, which is shocking given how this team's been doing record-wise. But 25 points in 36 games, not bad. Not quite on the point pace he had the year prior. Dougie Hamilton, 7 goals, 17 assists, good for 24 points. So on about the same point pace as he was, actually a much better point pace than he was last year. Jake Bean, 4 goals, 14 assists. And he put up 42 points last year, so a little bit weaker pace. And then Justin Falk, 6 and 13. Only had 29 points last year, though, which was very concerning. The new third pairing, Romanov, 5 points and a minus 15. Oh, that pairing is just getting shredded. Absolutely shredded. As far as the offense is concerned, Svechnikov, we know, is our leading scorer, 33 points in 37 games. Right now on pace to have the best season of his career. PLD, 32 points in 37 games. Of course, he had 33 points in 38 games last year. So on the same point pace, and thankfully he's been able to stay healthy this season. Knock on wood, that continues. Mitch Marner, 8 goals, 19 assists, good for 27 points in 30 games. I can't complain about that. The top line's done well. It's everybody else. So Max Zimmer has 9 points in 13 games. He's done tremendous as a legitimate depth option. Whitfield, in fairness, is up to 29 points in 37 games. So he only had 35 points last year. So he turned it around after a slow start. And Nino Niederreiter as well, 29 points. I can't necessarily complain. I'm intrigued to see Tavo's numbers. 25 points. The second line began to carry their own weight. It's the third line that I guess I'm concerned about now. Gauthier currently hurt, but he has 14 points, so you could argue he's going to be closing in on 30, which is at least my average target for a third line winger. We also have Mottinen, who only has 10 points. It's a little bit concerning. Obviously, he is extremely physical, and just letting him go as a grinder or a power forward might be the way to go. Brett Leeson, 13 points. It's okay, but again, maybe not great. And I wanted to pose this third line as a little bit more of a defensive line, but that is not working. I think that's fairly evident. And then Friedman, for the hell of it, you've played 7 games, you have 1 point. Matt Philippe, 9 points, which is, for a fourth liner, he's on that half-decent pace. Jordan Stahl with 13 points, and Allen is not a point getter whatsoever. Right. The issue is, though, we might have to take a slightly more offensive approach. And I'm going to wait until this team is back to 100%. But actually, in fairness, we can just go to edit player now. I think that might be the one issue that this team is having. There might be numerous issues, but rather than having that third line be a little bit more defensive, I think we need a little bit more of an offensive approach and have the fourth line be kind of the physical, defensive option to help. Maybe even run 4 different kind of skill line options. I'm not sure. Maybe for this team right now with the current setup, maybe the more traditional EA way of balance and skill, defensive, and physicality for your 4 forward lines. Maybe that's not the way to go. And with Allen as well, rather than him being a grinder, we'll change him to a 2-way. Maybe try to get a little bit more offense out of it. And we'll take it from there. I still, and perhaps foolishly so, think that we could make the playoffs this year. I think we're better than what we've proven to be thus far. Again, even if that is a very foolish opinion, which it absolutely could be. I will not deny that at all. I just want this team to make the playoffs, man. I don't know. It's RN Jesus has not shown. He has not shown his light down upon us as of late, unfortunately. And one, i.e. me, would like to think that that's going to turn around. So, time will tell. Matt Philippe will change back to a 2-way. And then again, I think the only other change here will be with Brett Leeson and Jordan Stahl. It's really the only thing to do. But this way, too, it also gives you a look at how the team's set up and all that. So, with Leeson, I could argue a playmaker is a better way to go rather than a 2-way. He does have some physicality, but Brett Leeson, this generation's Joe Thornton, big-bodied playmaker, as opposed to being overly physical. Not a bad way to go. Although, minus the being the next Joe Thornton part. That's probably not going to happen. Jordan to a 2-way, and then, damn it, we're going for it. We're still not at 100%, of course, with Gauthier hurt. That doesn't really look like Jordan Stahl, does it? I don't know who the hell that looks like. It looks like a mix of Jordan Stahl and former UFC fighter, MMA fighter, but mainly known for his time in the UFC, Josh Koscheck. Just throwing that out there. That's who it looked like. At least more than Stahl. Maybe it was because the beard was filled out. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's play until we're 100% healthy. We'll fix the lines. Again, we're pretty much locked into who can play where, though, so that's obviously the very limiting factor. We need the team to work as is currently established. And losing to Dallas is not exactly what I had in mind for the first game, but it's not the end of the world. So Tavo's back. Let's bump up Leeson, give him a chance over Stahl, and that is the team right now moving forward. The good thing is, I think somebody would have caught it if he had a keen eye. Oh my God, kill me. Mitch is back to a 90. And we're going to let Jordan Stahl play on the third line because I cannot be bothered to go back and edit the lines yet again. And it's fine because, technically Stahl can play up and Leeson was a depth option heading into the season. As the win-loss continues, can we beat Philly? No, but we can lose Morgan Geekie to injury. Fun. Back-to-back wins, 20, 21, and 4. As we approach what would have been the All-Star break had they not removed it. We lose to the Rangers. We beat a fairly bad Nashville team. Can we beat the Habs to end things on a little bit of a high note? Not necessarily saying we're ending the episode, but I guess just this current sim period. And we lose 3-0. It's unfortunate that we have to heavily ponder selling at this deadline, which I'm not sure what that would look like. We'd have the ability to try and flip Jordan Stahl. We could do a wheel spin to see whether or not he'd elect to waive the no-trade clause. We are currently 13 points out of a playoff spot, and making it is a dangerous move because would we even be able to get out of the first round? This next month is going to decide what happens. There is a very good chance that we are going to be selling on the deadline. Spencer Knight has a chance to hit the save percentage that we need him to hit, but there's no guarantee. Jimmy Howard has been abysmal, and right now we're risking having to overpay him and having to pray to all the gods that he retires so that we can get out of that contract or just not have to do it. Morgan Riley, still doing okay. So is Hamilton. Obviously the plus-minus of the defensive pairings right now is what's killing me. Svechnikov, still doing well. I can't really complain about the top-line guys. It's just, Nino's having a great season. Again, he's actually an 84, so that contract is such a steal. This team is better than what they've shown. The only thing, and again, some people might have been like, well, yeah, this obviously wasn't going to work. But we set up the defensemen. I set up the defensemen to have them be, prioritized on their attributes. So all 4 of our top 4 defensemen realistically should be offensive D-men. That is not going to happen. We're going to look for a little bit more of a split. So Bowen Byram is going to be changed. I think Romanoff as well to a defensive D-man. So basically the goal here is 2 defensive D-men, 2 two-ways, and 2 offensive defensemen. Despite the fact that both Byram and Romanoff are relatively well-rounded enough to the point where they should be able to be effective two-ways, it's not happening. And it's weird because offensively, our team is still putting up points despite the fact that, our defensemen have some good point totals as well. It's not as if it's another situation where it's like, oh, our defensemen, they're taking away points from the offense. No, for the most part, our top 6, they're doing pretty damn well. I can't really complain. But right now, we are pretty much desperate. We're going to throw anything at the wall to see what sticks over this next month Because if we're this far out of a playoff spot a month from now, really less than a month from now, we're done. We are going to have no choice but to sell at this deadline and try to make the most of it. And, I mean, aside from our top three defense, I don't know who else that includes. You look at someone like Romanoff on an expiring contract, he might be the guy because Jake Bean's pretty much locked in right now, unless Byram steps up as being, the top four defensemen for this team alongside the three guys that we can't trade. And then the obvious choice that I think a lot of people would throw out is, well, what happens to Dubois? We have the ability to move him. What happens to Mitch Marner? Svechnikov, I think I'd like to keep, obviously, to try and keep some form of the initial team that we started with the round. Julien Gautier's on an expiring contract. Jordan Staal, of course, even though we'd have to have a little bit of a luck with the wheel spin. We could sell off quite a few assets on this team relatively easily and get a decent amount back, even with the rule of only being able to get one draft pick back. We have 28 days to showcase that we are good enough and worthy enough of keeping the squad together to go for it, and having a 7-6 final against Detroit might not be what I had in mind. But we need to start winning games, and losing 3 out of 4, if I had to guess, by the time, oh my god, and Nino gets hurt, by the time the 28th rolls around, I wanted this to be the year that we make it back to the postseason. I don't think it's going to be, as Teuvo Teravainen also gets hurt. And I think if that doesn't say how I'm feeling right now and what the situation is, then I feel like it's fairly obvious, guys. We are in a lot of trouble. The good thing is we have some good young players that we can call up, no problem, to give them some time moving forward just to see how it goes down. But yeah, we are in a very bad spot. Lenny, let's go for Lenny. Give him a chance, and we'll be able to go best lines on both fronts and just have that be the team. So Brett Leeson's up as our second line center right now. We lost to Minnesota as well. We have 6 games before the deadline. If we don't win the vast majority of them, as Julien Gauthier gets re-injured, if we don't win the vast majority of these games, there's no justification for keeping this team together because they're not going to make it, which means there's obviously no justification for adding to this team, and that means we're going to tear it apart a little bit. So it could be Theo, it could be Robertson. Let's give it to Beecher. Don't know why. Just we'll give John Beecher the opportunity. He might not make it to the NHL otherwise, glass bones and all from what we've seen over the past few years. As we do, in fact, beat the Sens. Prapavisas down in Charlotte gets hurt. Geeky's back. My God, I tuned down injured. I think that injury slider's on 25 right now. No, John, that was your chance. Oh no, at least Nino's back. Oh, John Beecher, you poor soul. That is brutal. We did beat Ottawa. We lose to New Jersey. We are a week out from the deadline. Can we beat the Rangers? We do, 3-1. As Beecher is back on the team. I cannot believe he got hurt. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13. So yeah, Beecher and Lenny will be sent back down. Not going to immediately put them in the lineup because, let's be honest, there will be an injury in the AHL sooner rather than later. There you go. I can just hit best lines and Beecher's back to 100%. We crush Chicago 6-0. We have to beat Pittsburgh and the Islanders here. Prove it. Prove that you are worth keeping together. That's all I can ask. Can we beat the Penguins? This has taken forever and a day just to show me the result of this game. My God, please. Please, 3-1. Scott Darling gets hurt down in Charlotte. It's fine. Can we beat the Islanders? Yes, we can. 29, 28, and 5. We are currently 12 points out of a playoff spot with 20 games to go. It's not going to happen. That would be one of the most miraculous turnarounds to actually make the playoffs ever. And it's not going to happen. There's no way. A 6-win point swing is what we're in need of over the last 20 games, and the Flyers still have a game at hand. I hate to say it, but that's not going to happen. There's just no way. So we need to look now at taking a step back, because keeping this team together as is doesn't really make a whole hell of a lot of sense. I wish it did, but for their team that's not good enough to make the playoffs, why keep them together? So if we look on the top line here, I mean, Svechnikov is tradable. Not that I would want to do that by any means. He has more points this year. It's already a career high for him. I want to stay loyal to Svechnikov, but, it could be done. PLD, 51 points in 62 games. He's slightly off the pace now for a career high season. One could argue whether or not he's living up to what we're paying him. I think with $8 million, it's okay. But obviously right now, this top line, all three of them are tradable. We're not committed to them. Marner with 45 points in 55 games. I think the scariest one is knowing that Mitch Marner's contract's up at the end of next year. But, that is one hell of a top line, but it's not enough. Jamie Whitfield, 47 points. He had 35 all of last year. He has developed nicely into that second line role. I think just the big issue and where I'm struggling here is that, all logic says, okay, tear it down a little bit, but I don't know how much we have to tear it down. The 4 players we've looked at thus far, there's no reason to not keep them, right? And I'd like to think, those would be the guys to keep, because who the hell else are we going to get? Draft picks, some prospects a little bit weaker. Like, these are the type of guys we want to build around. So I don't think they're going anywhere. Teravainen's 28, 43 points in 55 games. Tavo's been great. Nino, we just signed him to a new great contract. We outright avoided, if I'm not mistaken, spinning for a no trade, right? What did he sign to? He signed at 2.5. If I'm not mistaken, let me know. I may have forgotten. Did we spin the wheel for Nino? And did it end up on a 0? Because technically he should have had a no-trade clause for those 3 years, but I don't even expect to trade him. Let me know. I think I forgot to spin the wheel for Nino. And then we get to the fourth line. Montinen, 17 points, 10 goals. Obviously the penalty minutes are a pretty big concern. You do have to ask the question of whether or not, what's the fighting up to, as far as how often he fights. But he's an extremely well-rounded guy who's going to develop probably into a second-line talent. I don't really think there's any reason to get rid of him. Brett Leeson on 17 points, medium 9, 80 overall. You see the attributes there. Gauthier, 12 goals, 9 assists in 58 games isn't too bad. He's on an expiring contract, however. Get to the fourth line, Max Zimmer, 11 points. Pretty damn good, you gotta be honest. He's 25. He's not going to get that much better. Jordan Staal, of course, it's his last year here. We could look to move on from him. And Allen, and unfortunately, the plus-minus is absolutely brutal. But we get to the defense, and again, Riley, he's been pretty good. 40 points. He probably won't hit the 64 that he had the year before, but that is an absolute steal of a contract. Just a steal. Dougie Hamilton, 40 points, 58 games as a defenseman. I'm not complaining. Jake Bean, 9 goals, 16 assists. I'm not really complaining. Justin Falk, 8 and 21. And again, we're tethered to Justin Falk right now. Romanoff and Byram just have not worked as a third pair. You could argue trading Romanoff, which, I think he would be the guy who's more likely to go than Byram, just because Byram has a chance to be the guy who potentially replaces Jake Bean. But hell, you could say Bowen Byram's, it's not looking too good. Maybe we move on from him just to play it safe. Of course, in my most recent, with the most recent NHL prospect rankings, if we were to start this series new today, Byram would be medium elite instead of high 4. But it's a tough call. And then goalie-wise, Spencer Knight at a 914. Again, very good chance to hit that 918. And then Jimmy Howard, I mean, we're going to keep. It's not as if he'd have any trade value. But this team is set up so well, it's kind of a mystery to me, at least, outside of the argument of maybe a little bit better line balance in terms of player types. But, I mean, we have $13 million in cap space. We have some damn good high-value assets. We have 3 first-round picks in this upcoming draft, which is insane. Like, we are set up in such a good way, although we are very much at risk of having to use one of these picks. It would probably be Phillies to get a new forward, which would mean trading either Nino or one of the members of the top 6, which would be just a disaster because they're all on such good deals. If we look at the goalie situation, I mean, Knight's value is out of control. We have Green as well, who ended up being medium elite. Peyton Green was a 4th-round pick. He's been great. And then we have 18-year-old Braden Walters, who was a 63 medium elite. He was a 2nd-round pick. Just tremendous. And you see the 2 medium starters, which are kind of meh. But what are you going to do? On the defensive side of things, again, the top, the top 2, definitely, not guys we can move. But you look at the value of Bowen Byram, maybe he's not going to make it. You see Jake Bean's value right now. Not that I want to trade Jake Bean, but because he's on a really good contract for a top 4 defenseman. But you get the point here. We have options, but outside of maybe very selective movements, as DuPont, also looking good. Outside of very selective movements, I mean, we know next season as well, guys like Rocher, Turcotte, Peterson, they're going to be pushing for spots in this lineup. I mean, Berard is an 80 at 18 years old. He's a 2nd-round pick. He's pushing for look at that shooting category. He should probably be signed now, but, this team is going to continue to change. It's just so frustrating that we're having as bad of a season as we are this year. So, I mean, in terms of expiring contracts here, I mean, the only guys to even contemplate moving are Gauthier and Stahl, really. We could look to move on from Guru, as I don't think he'll make this team. I mean, at least not as anything. We'd be, well, in fairness, actually, the defense and physical, I mean, he could be a decent, 4th-line option. But we don't have any high-value guys who are on 1-year contracts, right? So I think the best option here is just gonna be stay where we are, just bite the bullet. It sucks that we're missing the playoffs. Maybe move Julien Gauthier, who never took that step up, to a legitimate 2nd-line option. Maybe see if we can flip Eric Stahl to a winning team. And that's about it. I mean, we know we're going to have our draft picks available, and it might even be worth it to move one now. Although you got to be honest with the whole having to trade for a veteran rule for this season. That's just not going to work. So we have to hold on to it. But I've never felt like we've been in such a good spot as the Avs are trying to trade Nathan McKinnon. Are you insane? I've never really... And Shinkaruk made it up to an 81. Jesus. Never really felt like the team that we've had has been in such a good spot, yet at the same time felt so defeated because we're so far outside the playoff structure. I mean, depending on who we look to trade here, we'll be able to make those moves. Again, if it's up to me, Gauthier and Stahl, and we hold the fort from there. As far as the 3rd pairing being rough with Romanoff and Byram, deal with it for this season because odds are change is coming anyway. I mean, obviously we have way more forwards who are likely to break into this team next year, but defensively, it's fairly straightforward again. I mean, in terms of top prospects, we have Luke Mittelstadt, we have Ladd, but that's the one thing we're missing right now, are elite defensive prospects outside of Bowen Byram, who's already on the team. But 29, 28, and 5. So disappointing. I'm going to end it here because I do want your opinion on what we should do here. I mean, again, right now it's just to chalk it up as a loss, go 3 straight years without the playoffs, and then hope that next year we turn the corner. But we do have some things to think about. I mean, obviously some of the players who are going to progress between now and the start of next season. Mitch Marner's contract being up at the end of next year. A couple of things to keep in mind, at the very least. I'll see you guys in the next one. Again, looking forward to seeing what you have to say as far as what we should do with this team. But it's pretty devastating to know that we're not going to be a playoff team yet again. If you enjoyed the video, I mean, if you enjoyed watching the Hurricanes completely trip over their own damn shoelaces, make sure to leave a like on the video. Otherwise, of course, got to threaten you with physical violence like other YouTubers do. Works for them. Should work for me, right? Please. Please, God. Thank you very much. I will see you next time. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you then.